Welcome, everyone. I am so happy that you are here today. We are going to talk all about natural birth control, how you can easily prevent pregnancy without the pill. Now, before we get started on that, I wanted to just say again, welcome. I'm seriously so happy that you're here. Just the fact that you're here tells me that you are thinking about your body. You want the best for yourself. So, seriously, I cannot commend you enough just for being here, for opening yourself up to the opportunity to learn about some other options that you have for natural birth control. And yeah, let me just go ahead and introduce myself first. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Harmony Patton. I am a FDN practitioner and I'm also an intuitive healer. Essentially, I work with women so that they can learn to conquer hormonal issues and really regain control of their lives and feel really good in the decisions that they're making for their health. So, to me, a really big way that I can do this is by empowering you with knowledge, right? So, sharing information with you, making sure that you know your options, you know really what's happening kind of behind the scenes, behind all of the like marketing schemes and all of the craziness that is presented to us in this world. There's so much marketing and propaganda that's all geared towards being on hormonal birth control. And there's not really much talk of what can happen from it. So, seriously, I'm so ecstatic that you're here today. And yeah, again, I know some of you don't really know me personally. So, I just want you to know like, I'm a regular good old person. This is me and my family, my husband and my son, Gabe. He's 20 months old now, so that's a little bit over a year and a half old. And the biggest thing for me is that my current reality and having my son alone would not be possible for me if I had not decided to come off the pill and reclaim my health. Because between getting pregnant or between coming off the pill and getting pregnant, there was like 4 years in there. So that's part of why this matters so much to me. And as far as what I do, I know when I say, oh, I'm an FDN practitioner, like that doesn't really mean anything to most of you. So, what FDN stands for is Functional Diagnostic Nutrition. So, essentially, what it means is that I use functional lab work. So, that's different from regular medical lab work, but I use functional lab work in order to really kind of find and uncover healing opportunities in your body. So I'm looking for specific things in your body and then kind of correlating that to who you are, to what you experience, and kind of just like molding the two things together to create a really good picture of who you are and what I can potentially do to help you. So within that, I do protocols that always cover, diet, rest, exercise, stress reduction, and supplementation. And it's really important to me that I'm never just looking at you as a test result, and that I'm never, just being very limited with my protocols. Like I'll never just do diet and supplements for a protocol. To me, that's just really not encompassing enough to truly find healing. And then as far as being an intuitive healer, this is like the really fun part of what I do. So I use the lab work and I use the science-based knowledge and all of that. And then on top of that, I use my own intuitive powers and my own ability to really kind of help you shift your energy and shift your mindset. And really, this looks different with every client. Some clients we do a lot of energy work, some it's, more working on the lifestyle tools and trying to break out of toxic patterns that we have. And again, it's intuitive, so it depends on the client and it looks very different for everyone. But I absolutely am just completely obsessed with this side of what I do because it is so freaking impactful. Like, yes, the lab work is insane and the supplements and the diet and all of that is so important, but without this piece of like that deeper energetic healing, a lot of times it can be kind of tough to make these things sustainable long term. So in short, I'm a healer. That's what I am here for. Like that is my mission on this earth. I'm just a regular old person, right? I'm no one special, but I am here to help people heal and really just to help facilitate healing. Because ultimately, when it comes to healing, You are the ones that do the work. It's your body that does the actual healing. I'm just here to help guide and facilitate that. So before we really go any further, I want to just talk a little bit about who this webinar is for. So this webinar is for the woman who potentially wants to come off of hormonal birth control, but you have a lot of hesitation, right? Like you're scared. Maybe you're scared because you're scared of breaking out, or you don't want to get pregnant right now. So you're scared of what's going to come after you get off the pill. This is also for the woman who wants to understand how she can prevent pregnancy without getting on the pill. So if you're not on the pill right now, or maybe you never even have been, it doesn't also have to be the pill. It could be an IUD or, NuvaRing, whatever it is that you're using, whatever, maybe it's Nexplanon, whatever your birth control of choice is. Whether you're on one or not, you're here obviously because you want to learn how to not use a prescription-based birth control method, right? So this is definitely for you as well. Number 3 would be the woman who's looking to better understand her body and explore natural alternatives. So any woman can do this method. I mean, the only necessary requirement really is that you're not using hormonal birth control and that you are a woman. Now, I would say, if you're not interested in a natural alternative, if you really love your birth control and you absolutely never, ever, 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 ever want to get off, then this might not be for you. You might not be so interested in learning a natural alternative method, but I would also assume that you probably wouldn't be on this webinar if that was the case. So moving on, I've worked with so many women who want to come off the pill, and not even just the women that I've worked with, but I talk to so many women who tell me about, being on the pill and how they don't like it, how they don't feel like themselves, and oh, it sucks, and this and that. They want to come off, but all of them across the board, pretty much everyone that I talk to is paralyzed by one thing, and that's fear. Right? They're paralyzed by the fear of unwanted pregnancy. If they're a woman who doesn't want to get pregnant yet, that's where I was when I came off the pill. I did not want to have a baby yet. Or crazy breakouts, especially if you got on the pill for acne and it helped calm your skin down, but you're still kind of breaking out. Thinning hair, right? Some women deal with thinning hair on and off the pill. I mean, the periods and crazy cycle problems, this is super common when it comes to coming off the pill. Infertility, I dealt with that. I really dealt with all of these, if I'm being honest. Depression, anxiety, PMDD. So many of you, you got on the pill to help to manage PMDD, and maybe the pill helps to kind of keep it under control. Now, I do also want to specify one more time, when I'm saying the pill, it doesn't have to be the pill. Maybe for you, it's an IUD, whatever it is. But I'm going to continue to refer to it as a pill just to keep this very simple and streamlined. Weight gain is another big fear of many women, but the thing that I find interesting is that most women actually lose weight when they come off the pill. I'll get to that in a little bit. So, I mean, these are real issues for real women, right? This is not like hyperbole. It's not just like, oh yeah, I didn't feel good, or like, oh, I didn't enjoy it. These are real issues that are extremely impactful in our lives, right? It's not just something to be taken lightly. And the truth is, I like literally when these women reach out to me and they're talking to me about being afraid of coming off the pill, I cannot blame you. If you are on here right now and if you have any kind of fear of coming off the pill, or even if it's just like you're just kind of unsure, if you could go ahead and type a little 1 into the chat right now, I would love that. So go ahead and type a 1 into the chat if you have any kind of fear, discomfort, trepidation around coming off the pill. All right, let's see some 1s coming in. If not, give me a 2. If you're not afraid to come off the pill, give me a 2. Maybe you're on here and you are like, oh, I'm seeing some 1s coming in. All right. But yeah, if you're on here, maybe you're not a person who's on the pill, right? Like I mentioned at the beginning, then maybe you're a 2. That's cool. But let's see some 1s. Let's see some 2s coming in. I want to see kind of who we've got on here. All right. So I want to tell you guys a little bit about my own personal experience. I already kind of alluded to it a little bit. But for me, when I came off the pill, I did so back in 2013, and it did not go so well. I ended up with crazy, crazy acne. Now, keep in mind, I did have acne before I got on the pill. I did get on partially to help clear my skin, but I also was breaking out while on the pill. Um, but it wasn't very bad. It was just like some random pimples here and there. And then I also was diagnosed with PCOS, which, if you don't know what that is, it's polycystic ovarian syndrome, which essentially means that instead of ovulating, your body in your ovaries, you create cysts. So that obviously led to infertility. I had no period, literally no cycle whatsoever. I was spotting nonstop for a year and a half. I was losing hair. I had leaky gut and crazy digestive issues, and I had constipation and I mean, chronic constipation, really. And I had chronic heartburn. I would wake up with heartburn. It was absolutely insane. And of course, along with that came a lot of depression and anxiety. So I am no stranger to all of this. And these are just some pictures of my face from back in 2014. So this was, probably 8-ish months after I had already come off, maybe 8, 9 months after I'd come off the pill. And, the thing is that a lot of times these really negative side effects, they can take a little while to show up. So sometimes right after people get off the pill, the first couple months, they're like, oh, I'm good. And it's because your body hasn't fully gotten rid of all of the fake hormones in your system yet. Like those are still kind of going through your system. So when it's really once those hormones are out of your system that you can start to see the damage that the pill has caused. Now that's damage in more than one way. There's damage to the gut and the liver and your endocrine system. I mean, your entire hormonal system is put essentially into a menopause. You don't ovulate on the pill, your hormones aren't surging like they normally do. You're just completely shutting down the entire reproductive system in your body. And for me, it took me years to fully heal and to get my health back where I wanted it to be, and then to be able to conceive my son. Again, I came off the pill in 2013, and I wasn't able to conceive my son until 2017. Now, we weren't actively trying that whole time, but we genuinely weren't doing anything to prevent pregnancy because I knew that I wasn't ovulating. And I knew that there was no way to get pregnant when you're not ovulating. So we did absolutely nothing to prevent pregnancy that entire time. And genuinely, I never thought I would be able to have a child. Like, I didn't think that having a baby would be an option. And, my doctor, when I was diagnosed with PCOS, didn't really give me many options. My options were to either go back on the pill to have a period or to do fertility treatments when the time came around. And thank goodness, I was able to heal myself naturally and I didn't end up having to go that route. But it's just absolutely crazy when I think back to that time when it was like everything felt so hopeless. Like, I my hair got so thin, my skin was breaking out like crazy. I was spotting. My moods were insane. I was depressed. I mean, it was just like the epitome, like lowest of lows. And I felt like I wasn't a woman. Like I felt as though I wasn't a woman because I wasn't cycling. I felt as though I couldn't do the most basic thing that women are supposed to be able to do. And I know many women are in this position. Many women deal with infertility. And, I did for years, so I completely empathize. It's a really tough spot to be in. And, I wouldn't wish that experience on anyone. The worst part of it all, though, really is that it didn't have to be that way, right? Like things didn't have to go this way. If I hadn't gotten on the pill, I mean, things were fine before I got on the pill. I had some acne, yes, but outside of that, I mean, I was good. I had normal cycles. There really weren't any issues. And when it came to coming off, I didn't know any better. Like I had no idea what the pill had been doing to my body that entire time. And so, like, I really didn't think much of coming off. I had just kind of switched to a healthier lifestyle. I had switched to eating paleo and, I had started doing a lot of like healing and cleansing and what have you. And I was like, okay, I want to get rid of prescriptions. So let's go ahead and get off the pill. Not thinking much of it. Lo and behold, 8 months off the pill, I went in for a pap smear. And that was really when I realized that what I was experiencing was not normal. They were pretty alarmed, first of all, by my skin, and I was a very low weight at that time as well. Really, really flat chested. Granted, I've got little itty bitty titties anyway, but like even more so than usual. Um, yeah, and so it was after that that I got diagnosed with PCOS. And really throughout all of this and like dealing with all of the craziness after coming off the pill, I thought that I was alone. Like I hadn't heard of anyone else going through anything like what I was experiencing. I knew that the pill was to blame, but I didn't know why, right? Because at that point the pill was technically out of my system, right? The fake hormones were no longer in my system. So why couldn't my body just figure it out, right? I didn't know how the pill had been impacting my body that entire time. I was just really oblivious. But what I did know for sure was that my life was fine before the pill. Again, I had some acne, but mostly I went on, for the birth control because I got into a relationship and to help my skin. And my life was a mess after the fact, though, right? Coming off of it, my life was a mess. So now, years later, after doing so much research and, getting training done to become a certified practitioner, and, now that I know so much more, it completely makes sense. Everything that I went through, I'm like, okay, 100%, that makes sense. I get why it happened. And the beauty of understanding why something happens is then you can kind of reverse engineer it and say, okay, now I know why. So that means that I can make it so that this doesn't happen to other people in the future, right? Because it doesn't have to go that way. But the thing is, it turns out that there are literally so many women out there who come off the pill and have horrible experiences, right? My experience is like not unique at all, and I had no freaking idea. But at this point, there are so many women. In fact, the majority of women who come off the pill experience adverse reactions, right? They have a lot of the symptoms that I mentioned earlier. Um, and there's so many women that hate being on the pill because they don't feel like themselves, but they feel stuck, right? They feel like there's no other option because they want that easy birth control method. And for a lot of women, it keeps PMDD under control, or, it keeps their cycles, their quote unquote cycles. It's not a real cycle, but it keeps it normal. They bleed less time. PMS is less intense for some women. But all of that really just points to underlying hormonal imbalances that they had prior to getting on the pill that unfortunately the pill has not been helping. It's just been artificially taking your body through this fake cycle month after month. But the thing is, when you feel like there's no other options, then you just do what you have to do, right? You do what you can. You get by with the options that are available to you. And literally, these things that I've mentioned are so common, like these adverse side effects from coming off the pill and having bad experiences are so common that there's even a new syndrome, and it's called post-birth control syndrome, PBCS. So here are a couple things that you can experience from post-birth control syndrome. Amenorrhea is a big one. That's the loss of the cycle, which is kind of what I explained with myself, right? Where I had that spotting nonstop and I had no cycle. Heavy painful periods, infertility, hypothyroidism, acne, cystic acne, rosacea, migraines, headaches, hair loss, depression, blood sugar regulation, anxiety, gas or bloating. All of these things are things that can happen when you come off the pill. Post-birth control syndrome. Now, is this something that you're going to go to your doctor and be diagnosed with? Oh, hell no. No, you're not going to, because by doing so, that would be admitting that the pill has this effect on people. Whereas in the medical world, we look at it like, okay, you're either on something or that is no longer in your system and therefore you're good, right? That's not quote unquote causing it. But the problem is the after effects of having been on it. So I'm curious, if you are on here right now and you are on the pill or you have an IUD, NuvaRing, whatever, I'm curious if you feel stuck. Like, do you feel like you have options or do you feel stuck on the pill? Tell me right now. Give me a number 1 if you feel stuck, a number 2 if you don't. All right, let's see some ones coming in. Okay. Let's continue on. But let me know if you're on here right now. I'd love to see you participating. Say hi, ask your questions as they come up. I have the chat open so I can see what you're saying. Kim says 1. Yeah, so if you feel stuck on the pill, give me a 1. If not, give me a 2. Okay, so in case you didn't notice yet, being on the pill changed my life in so many ways. And while it was really tough, my experience has given me a mission to make things better for other women. That is why it's my experience that has motivated me to educate you so that you know you have options. That is why I am passionate about teaching you these alternative methods of pregnancy prevention, right? Natural options for birth control. And on top of that, teaching you how you can heal and recover from the pill as well as prepare your body to get off the pill, right? This is very powerful stuff and it can absolutely change your entire experience with all of this. So I just want you to know it does not have to go this way. Just because this happens a lot these days, just because there are a lot of women who deal with post-birth control syndrome and have all of these bad things that happen when they get off the pill, it completely does not have to go that way whatsoever. It's really just about know that you can safely come off the pill without those crazy side effects. Again, it's just a matter of having a plan for your body. It's a matter of knowing what you need so that you can prepare your body before you come off. And then you can begin to rebuild and actually heal once you do. I promise you, with the right tools and the right knowledge, your experience does not have to be like mine. And that's why I am so passionate about what I do and my message. And even though, I get hate sometimes. I get people who disagree with me. I get people who are not on board with this message. And it just kills me because I know firsthand how extremely painful this whole process can be. And it doesn't have to be. Because you don't have to feel scared. And the best way to get over fear is to gain knowledge, right? It doesn't have to be like this. There is a way to come off of the pill and reduce the likelihood of PBCS, post-birth control syndrome. Right? Your experience can seriously be so much better than mine. Trust me. I'm a regular person. Like I said, there is nothing magical or special about me. My body sure as hell ain't like special, okay? I'm just a regular old woman. And if I was able to heal using natural methods, you absolutely are as well. And I've guided so many other women to safely get off of birth control, specifically the pill, and take back their natural fertility. Whether that means you want to have a baby or not, your fertility is just your body's ability to have a baby, right? That doesn't mean you have to go and have a baby right now. And you can do all this without the crazy symptoms. So I just want to share with you some words of some of my previous clients. Some of them are actually still clients. So this was from one of my clients. I've now been off birth control for over a year and have very healthy regular cycle. I've managed my skin and only wear makeup when I want to. I've lost a total of 10 pounds and stay consistent with my current weight. My mood, self-esteem, and energy level has been steady and better than ever before. A total 360-degree turnaround. I can never thank you enough, Harmony, for all that you have done for me. Here's another client. I just want to thank you for giving me that confidence back and teaching me how to understand my body. It's been pretty awesome, even through the difficult times. The thing that I find so interesting about the beautiful women that I work with is like, they're thanking me, but they're the ones that did the work, right? They're the ones that, yes, I provided them the information and the knowledge and the tools, but they are the ones doing the work, right? And their bodies are the ones that are healing and doing beautifully. This is another one of my clients, one of my favorite. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I have lost 17 pounds since starting to work with you and coming off the pill, and my goal wasn't even to lose weight. My cycles are finally good. My hair isn't falling out like it used to on the pill, and I feel so happy that I'm off. It's been effortless weight loss, and I feel so much less bloated now. I really like, I just love that the results are so tangible, right? And it's not complicated. It's just a matter of knowing what your body needs. Those are just a few of the women that I've worked with, right? That is not everyone. There are many, many more that I've worked with, um, and that I'm still working with, to help them transition off the pill. About 90% of the women I work with either have recently come off the pill or they want to get off the pill during our time working together. So, most of these women were on the pill for 10, some were actually even 10 years, some even longer. It really, everyone is unique and different, but they all have one very, very big important thing in common, and that was that they had the desire to heal, right? So they had the desire to get rid of the pill. They wanted to get off of the prescription. Like, it's really as simple as having the desire to do that. And then even though you're scared, doing it with a plan, right? Because when you do it with a plan, you can have that security that really takes that big what if fear out of it because you know you're doing the best possible thing for your body. And so even though these women were scared, they knew it would be the best thing for them. And so they moved forward with it. And the beauty of it is that none of them regret it. I've never worked with a woman who I've helped guide off the pill, even for those it hasn't gone so smoothly for. Some women, it depends on where your body is when you come off the pill. For the ones that it's a struggle or it's a challenge, none of them regret it because they're still happy to be rid of the pill in their lives and to have healed from it and to know better, to have the knowledge and the wherewithal to know what it was doing to their bodies that they're now having to recover from. And the thing is, once you've healed from all of these issues that can come from the pill, right? If you get off the pill, you have a hard time and you heal from it, there is no going back ever again. I was just talking to a client yesterday who was like, if I ever have a daughter, she is never getting on the pill because of her own experience with having to heal from it. And I truly, for me, working with women one-on-one and in group settings and sharing my courses with women, just even just connecting with women on social media and opening up and starting these conversations, it is such an honor for me to be in a position where I can share this information with you and truly give you the opportunity to find new knowledge and to feel that empowerment within yourself because you know better. And I've worked with tons of women like this in my practice, and it truly is such an honor. And it's a beautiful, empowering process to get to know your body, right? Because when it comes to, natural birth control and like getting your cycle back and all of this, so much of it is really, it's very intuitive. It's getting to know your body, learning to listen to your body. And so, after all of that, that really brings us to our first topic here today, which is getting to know your cycle. How are we hanging in there? We doing good? All right. So I'm going to have a couple questions coming up that I'm going to hope you will participate in. So getting to know your cycle. So this, I want you to know that this is not something that you can do while you are on the pill or using any other hormonal birth control method. And the reason for that is because you do not ovulate while you are on the pill. So there is no way for you to get to know your cycle because it is completely controlled by the little pills that you're taking, right? There's no ebb and flow of hormones throughout the month. There really is no cycle. When you bleed, when you have your period while on the pill, it's merely because your body has thought that it was pregnant and then it realizes that it's not pregnant because the synthetic form of progesterone, which is progestin, is suddenly gone, right? All of a sudden, you're not taking your active pills anymore, so it's suddenly gone. So your body says, oh, hold on, we're not producing a bunch of progesterone anymore. That means we're not pregnant. That means we need to shed our uterine lining. So it's not because you've ovulated and that egg has not been fertilized that your uterine lining sheds. It's simply because your body is withdrawing from the synthetic hormones that it's been getting. So it's not a true cycle. It's not a quote unquote real period, right? You do bleed, the blood is real, but the reason for it happening is entirely not. So this is something that you'll want to begin when you get off the pill, whether that's right away. I mean, I'd recommend you at least start it right away. It doesn't hurt to kind of get going and get a sense of where you're at. So I'm very curious. Do you know, first of all, how to calculate how many days are in your cycle? If you know just how to calculate it, not that you know how many you currently have, if you know how to calculate how many days are in your cycle, give me a 1. Send me a little 1 in the chat box. And then if you know how many days are in your cycle right now, extra bonus brownie points, give me a 2. Now, this is not how many days you bleed, right? This is how long your entire cycle is, not the amount of days that you are bleeding. So let me see some 1s and 2s coming in. All right. So if you do know, I'm curious, how many days are in your cycle? So if you don't know, if you don't know how to do this yet, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you really quickly how to calculate this. So day 1 is the first day of your period. So the first day that you begin to bleed, first day of your period, that is day 1 of your cycle. The last day of your cycle is the day before your next period. So period, first day of your period is day 1. Last day is right before you start to bleed again. And that is how long your cycle is. For most women, or I guess, like typically, this is a 28 to 32 day cycle. That's very, very like general though. A lot of women actually have cycles that are even between 34 and 45 days. So up to 45 days is still technically considered normal. However, we do want to try to keep your cycles shorter if possible, just to make sure that your hormones are kind of fluctuating as they should be, and making sure that you're ovulating. So when you have a 28 to 32 day cycle, ovulation typically occurs between day 11 and 14. So it's really kind of in the middle of your cycle, right? So if it's a 28-day cycle and you ovulate on day 14, then that is exactly halfway through your cycle, right? So just to go over ovulation, just in case, we're a little rusty on what that is. So ovulation is when your ovary releases an egg, right? That egg travels down the fallopian tube and then into the uterus, and then it hopes to be fertilized by sperm, right? And then it would implant into the uterine wall. Now, if that implantation does not happen, meaning that the egg was never fertilized, then you get your period again. So either duration is fine, whether it's 28, 32 days or, even up to 45 days. They're considered normal, but what's most important here is that you actually are ovulating and having a cycle. For me, it took me a year and a half to ovulate or have a period again after I got off the pill. Now, I don't actually know when I first ovulated. However, I definitely did not get a period until over a year and a half after being off the pill. And as I mentioned before, I was spotting the entire time for a year and a half straight, which is definitely not sexy. Like, seriously, no one wants to be spotting all the time. It sucked. So the thing that I love, okay, this is just so great because my clients, on the other hand, like they get normal cycles so quickly. Most of them have normal cycles right away as soon as they come off the pill, or some of them, it can be a little bit wonky here and there, but they're still cycling. Like I haven't had any clients who have come off and we haven't been able to get them to ovulate and cycle, which is absolutely incredible and just gives me further confirmation that, the work I'm doing, it works and it makes sense because it's all about preparation. It's about preparing your body to come off the pill and then giving it the support that it needs once you're off as well. So that's, excuse me. So I'm sure you're wondering that that's all fine and dandy, right? But why do we care to know how many days are in our cycle? Why should that matter? And this really brings us into this whole natural birth control thing because knowing your cycle is key to preventing pregnancy naturally. If you're on the pill, again, your cycle is predictable because it's controlled by the hormones and it doesn't actually have anything to do with cycling. Your hormones are not fluctuating. You don't ovulate, and once you're off, you do need to know when you ovulate in order to have safer sex around that time. Because if you have unprotected sex while you are ovulating and there aren't any other issues, granted, there still can be many fertility issues within this whole cycle. Don't get me wrong. There are many women, and myself included, who can purposefully have sex unprotected while they're ovulating and still not get pregnant. Okay, so that's really what infertility is, right? However, barring any other issues, that is how you can get pregnant. You can only get pregnant if you have unprotected sex while you're ovulating or if there's sperm already in you. So for instance, sperm can live inside of our bodies for up to 5 days. So if there's sperm already inside of your body, and then you ovulate, then you can also get pregnant. So it's about a 7-day window that you can get pregnant. And that's why knowing this, knowing when this ovulation happens, is literally the key to natural birth control. Knowing when you ovulate is how you prevent pregnancy. And knowing the days in your cycle is the first step of that. Knowing how many days, because again, like I said, typically day 11 or 14, right, is when you ovulate. So you got to know which day of your cycle you're on. You need to know if you're on day 1, is it your period right now? Or, are you on day 20? Where are you in your cycle so that you can have a better picture and a better idea of whether you've ovulated yet or not. And again, after ovulation, your egg only lives for 24 to 48 hours. So, if you're not someone who's in a committed relationship and having a lot of unprotected sex, then, there's 24 to 48 hours literally only. Some eggs only live 24 hours. Some it's 48, but 48 hours is like maximum. Okay. Like there's a very small window that egg is alive from when it is released from your ovary and it travels down the fallopian tube and then into the uterus. It's 24 to 48 hours before it dies. So I think, we have this concept that we can get pregnant all day, any day, and it's just not true. So what this means is that you can have all the wild, unprotected sex you want outside of your fertile window. The key is to know when you ovulate. So that's a lot of what we're going to be talking about. And if you just think about it, for women who are trying to get pregnant, right, they want to know when they ovulate so that they can be sure to have sex during that time, right? So really preventing pregnancy is kind of just reverse engineering that whole thought process. And by the way, this is the method that I used to conceive my son. So when we get further into this, I'll tell you exactly what I used. But again, there was a while that we had other infertility issues with the PCOS and everything. So we still weren't able to conceive right away once we actually did begin, quote unquote, trying and making sure that we were having sex while I was ovulating. So I'll get more into this again. But for now, let's talk a little bit more about how to figure out when you ovulate, because this is the key to everything. And it's actually not that complicated. So once you have a consistent cycle, so once you get off the pill and you start having a consistent cycle, your body is likely going to ovulate around, maybe not the exact same day, but you'll have a pretty good window, right? So this is very, very good, very important information for you to have. All right, let's move on. Next is basal body temperature. So this is a fun one. So what is basal body temperature? So this is your body's temperature as soon as you wake up, right? So before you move around, before you're walking around, before you get up to go pee, before you roll over and give your partner a kiss, no, no, no. Your basal body temperature is like as soon as you wake up, essentially you reach over, you're going to grab a thermometer. And it's a special type of thermometer. They're not super expensive. I thought that they were like a super special fancy thing at one point. They're really not. You can get them for $10 all the way up to $100 on Amazon. Basal body thermometer. And then you wake up, have your alarm go off. You want to try to do this at the same time every day. So you're going to literally just pick up the little thermometer, pop it in your mouth, get your temperature. If you're using an app to log your information, you can log it in your app. If you're using paper, just have a pen and paper next to your bed and just jot it down really quick. And if you want to, you could even go back to sleep, right? You don't have to stay awake after that, but just set an alarm so that you're kind of trying to do it at the same time every day so you can get a really good baseline of your temperature. That's easy to do, right? It doesn't take long. Literally should take you less than a minute to do this. And if you have time in the morning to sit on Facebook, to sit on Instagram, in your bed, for however long you do that, right? Almost everyone picks up their phone and then hops on Facebook or Instagram. If you have the time to do that, you sure as hell have the time to take your temperature really quick and log it in an app or jot it down, right? This is not hard to do. It's really quick, really easy. Less than a minute of your day every single day. It's so easy, you guys. And then again, especially if you use an app. If you use an app, I think that's just really, really the easiest way to do it. And these days, there's actually even thermometers that have like Bluetooth sync to your app. So you can take your temperature and it'll automatically upload your data into your app. Even easier. So again, why does this matter for pregnancy prevention, right? Why in the hell do we care to take our temperature every morning? And again, it comes back to tracking your ovulation. And it's because if you know when you're ovulating, then you can take measures for no sex or safer sex during that time. So as your hormones surge throughout the month, right, your hormones are changing, your basal body temperature will change as well. Most importantly, after you ovulate, the elevation of progesterone in your body, which is produced by the corpus luteum, which is kind of like, it's like the follicle from where the egg has released, that follicle that's on your ovary, it's the corpus luteum. It produces progesterone in hopes, again, of your egg becoming fertilized and then implanting in the uterus. And then your body is producing a bunch of extra progesterone to help support a healthy pregnancy. So when you have that extra progesterone going, your basal body temperature rises. So the good thing about this is that after you ovulate, your temperature rises. And then for you, because you're collecting all of this data, right, to figure out when you're ovulating. So if you're putting this into an app, it'll automatically tell you. It's going to look for your patterns and it's going to tell you automatically, oh, you know, you've likely ovulated, blah, blah, blah. But if you're not using an app and you're just doing it on your own, which is also easy, you're just going to look for a rise in body temperature. And then it's like, okay, I'm ovulating right now. No sex, or we got to be really careful. We're going to use a barrier method. We're going to use a condom, a diaphragm, whatever you choose. Right? Does that make sense? So again, it's a really, really great way to confirm ovulation because when that temperature rises, it's confirmation that your progesterone has spiked and therefore you have ovulated. And again, this gives you a really, really, really specific 24 to 48 hour window of being very fertile and therefore needing to be very careful if you're trying to prevent pregnancy. If you're not trying to prevent pregnancy, then I mean, you know, go to town. If you're trying to get pregnant, this is the time to have sex, all of the unprotected sex. But yeah, otherwise, right, this is your time to either abstain or be careful or, you know, like use oral sex, do other things. There's a lot of other fun sexual things you can do that is not, you know, penis and vagina sex, as they say. So again, pregnancy prevention during this time. Everything you've been taught. Condoms, abstinence, diaphragms, sponges, whatever works for you. There's a ton of methods out there. I go more into this in my course, but I'm not going to share all of that with you because it's just information overload, right? I'm not trying to keep you here all day. So again, this really, really, really is key for knowing when you've ovulated and therefore being able to have that safe baby-free sex. Because especially if you know that you've ovulated, then you know that within 24 to 48 hours of that spiked temperature, you're safe, right? Then you can have all of the unprotected sex you want until you begin to become fertile again. Does that make sense? I mean, this is actually really very simple. So again, to avoid pregnancy, you gotta know when you ovulate. You just have to. If you are not on the pill, if you're not using some kind of hormonal birth control method, you really need to know when you ovulate. And all in all, there's about that 7-day window every month where pregnancy is possible. Now, again, it's 7 days because in theory, if your partner ejaculates into you 5 days before you ovulate, and then your egg stays alive for 24 to 48 hours, then within that window, you can get pregnant. I hope that makes sense to you, but it's really only about a third of the month that you need to be really cautious when it comes to having sex. And definitely, like, I would probably abstain from unprotected sex during that time, unless, you know, you're okay with getting pregnant. Right. And so I already mentioned this, but this is again just because the sperm can survive for 5 days in your body after ejaculation. So if you know you're fertile versus the days that you are not fertile, it gives you power over your fertility. It gives you power and control over your sex life, right? It gives you the safety and the comfort of knowing, okay, I have already ovulated this month. If I have sex, I cannot get pregnant. Like there is no egg to impregnate. And that's why it's very effective. And it also means a lot of fun, unprotected sex for you without the worry of pregnancy. And in looking for these ovulation patterns, the more that you do this and the more that you get to know your body, the easier it gets. And again, if you're using an app, so freaking easy, like so easy. But even just doing it on your own, I promise you, like it's not hard. It's not rocket science. It just takes a little bit of time to get to know your body and to get to know your cycle. Once you know that, once you take a few months to get to know yourself, super simple. All right, so there's one more thing you're going to look for when it comes to predicting ovulation, knowing when you've ovulated, all that jazz. This is the last one we're really going to talk about today. And again, it's just going to give you more clarity on when you have ovulated. And it's cervical mucus. Yay! So I know, it sounds a little bit gross. I know. However, just give it a shot. Okay, like this is actually my favorite way to track your ovulation and fertility, partially because when you learn to pay attention to it, you can see the signs before you ovulate with this one. Plus, it is so simple, actually doesn't take any extra time. You don't have to do really much of anything extra, less than a minute a day potentially. And so let me tell you 3 ways that you can check your cervical fluid or cervical mucus, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same thing. So when you go to the bathroom, before you pee or poo or whatever you're doing in there, you're going to take a tissue and you can go ahead and just wipe yourself. And you can see what comes out, what it looks like, right? And I'll tell you in a minute what we're really looking for as we check this, but if you're not wiping beforehand, you can look a little bit closely at your discharge, kind of check it out, see what's going on there. And then the third option that you have to figure out what your cervical mucus looks like for the day is to insert, and again, please wash your hands. You can insert your middle finger into your vagina. You want to get up as high as possible so that you're really getting to the cervix. And then you're just going to take your finger out and then you kind of roll whatever is between, whatever comes out on your finger, you're going to roll it between your middle finger and your thumb. So you kind of just roll it around. You want to feel the consistency of it. You know, is it sticky? Is it thin? Is it kind of dry? Is there a lot there? Is it gummy? And so again, that is what we're looking for. We're looking for the consistency. You're going to check to see if it's watery or sticky. Is it kind of like Elmer's glue? Is it white? Is it yellow? Is it kind of like raw egg whites? You know, that kind of gelatinous, jiggly sensation. And also how much of it is there. So that's kind of what we're looking for. And I'll go into the specifics of what exactly you're looking for in a little bit. But that's what we're looking for when we are checking our cervical mucus. So the more fertile you are, the closer to ovulation you are, the stretchier your cervical mucus will be. The most cervical mucus, which is a really, really, really big sign of ovulation, and actually it's a very high indicator of fertility in general. Some women that don't have enough cervical mucus, even if they are ovulating, this can actually be one of the reasons that they struggle with infertility if they don't have enough of this cervical mucus. So your most fertile cervical mucus, which is a sign that you are ovulating, is raw egg white consistency. So again, it's that kind of jiggly, gelatinous, oftentimes it's clear. You probably know what I'm talking about, right? A lot of times if you have a lot of cervical mucus, then while you're ovulating, you know, when you wipe, even after peeing, a lot of times it'll be kind of like slippery, right? Do you know what I mean? It's that gelatinous kind of consistency. And I have to tell you, so this was the only sign that I used to conceive my son, because at the time my period was a little bit wonky. I was about a month late before I conceived him. So I had actually like given up. We had been trying really consistently for over a year. And I remember one day in January, I randomly was like, "Hey, you know, I see my egg white cervical mucus." I'm like, "All right, well, let's give it a shot. Let's just have some sex. Why not? Let's do it. Let's see if it happens." You know, again, I had kind of like given up hope that we would actually be able to conceive at this point. And sure enough, like a month later, I found out that I was pregnant. So it's really really, really, really effective. Like of all of these, I think this, again, I already mentioned it's my favorite one, but seriously, it's so freaking easy to notice. Every time you go to the bathroom, you're looking at your discharge, you're looking, right? You're coming, at least to an extent, in contact with your vagina. I hope that you were friends with her. So don't be afraid of the cervical mucus that's coming out of her. She can tell you so much. So I just want you to think about it like this. So the thicker and stretchier, right? So again, think about like that egg white, the raw egg white consistency that's kind of jiggly and very kind of buoyant, right? And stretchy. The thicker and stretchier your cervical mucus is, the easier it is for sperm to stay in your body and therefore for the egg to become fertilized and implant. So if you think about it like this, right, it's fertile. The point of this cervical mucus when it is that consistency is to help you get pregnant. It's to help make that happen. So when your cervical mucus is thin, or even if, you know, you're kind of dry up there, there's not much mucus at all, there's not really much of anything, or if it's like super thin and watery, then that's not very fertile. That's not really an environment that's super conducive to keeping sperm inside of your body. So of all of the options that I've talked about so far, this is the best way to anticipate before ovulation happens, because throughout your cycle, your cervical mucus is going to change. So once you kind of get to know your body, you'll be able to be like, okay, ovulation is coming. I know that I need to begin to be safe now. So especially for pregnancy prevention, cervical mucus is really, really, really important. And again, as soon as you notice it becoming thicker and you notice it kind of becoming more stretchy, then you have your sign that ovulation is coming. So let's just talk about kind of like the typical progression of cervical mucus during your cycle. So right after your period, so once you stop bleeding, more often than not, you're going to be more dry. Some women have almost no cervical mucus at this point. Excuse me. If they do, then oftentimes it's very thin, right? And gradually, you know, so that's like however, like 3-4 days after your period. And then gradually, as you get a little bit further into your cycle, it becomes a little bit more yellow or white, depending on you, and it'll become a little bit more sticky and a little bit more stretchy. Now, this is the one that you're really going to want to pay attention to, and that's before ovulation. So typically before you ovulate, this is key, before you ovulate. So this is your signal to start being safe. It becomes white or cloudy, and there's a lot more of it. So again, that quantity is going to go up a lot, and it's going to begin to become very, very moist. There's going to be a lot more. It's going to be very moist, and this is typically compared to Elmer's glue. It's creamy and sticky, right? Creamy and sticky and getting more stretchy, right? Kind of like I talked about the stretchiness. During ovulation, this is the one I've been talking about all along. And if you see this and you are trying to prevent pregnancy, Lord have mercy, do not have unprotected sex, okay? Like, please, just don't if you don't want to get pregnant. So this is that nice raw egg white, kind of gelatinous, jiggly, super stretchy cervical mucus. And this means that you are ovulating. There is an egg probably traveling down your fallopian tube right now. She's going on vacay. She doesn't know that she's about to be vacated from your uterus. So that's kind of the progression. And I love this because it's so simple, it's so easy, and you can very easily get all of this under control. So, and again, from there, you've got the 24 to 48 hour post ovulation time, and then you're in the clear for the rest of your cycle until all of this starts all over again. Woohoo! So is it all kind of coming together now? I hope that it is. If you're confused, please ask any questions right now. Again, I have the chat up so I can answer them for you. Let me know anything that's coming up, any questions that you have. But I hope this is coming together for you, and you're seeing that by avoiding sex or using a barrier method when you're fertile can avoid unwanted pregnancy, and it's actually insanely simple. And it's crazy effective when you do it consistently, when it's done right, and you're doing this, it's between 98 to 99% effective. Isn't that crazy? The pill, for reference, not all of them, but most of them are around 99.3% effective. Some are more like 98. It depends on the pill you're using, but that's as effective as hormonal birth control, y'all. What? So the best way to practice this and to make it super effective, right? Because I know I just talked about 3 different options, 3 different things you can kind of do, but the way to make this the most effective is to use all 3 methods together, right? So don't just pick one, but do all 3. Do a little bit of checking your temperature, know what day of your cycle you're on, and check your cervical mucus, right? So using these 3 methods together is the best proven way to prevent or achieve pregnancy. Now, again, when it comes to achieving pregnancy, it can get a little bit more complicated. There's other factors that come into play there. However, when you're tracking your cycle, you know your days of your cycle, you know what days you typically ovulate, and then you're also using your basal body temperature to see when you've ovulated. You're using your cervical mucus to see when you're about to ovulate, and then know when you're ovulating. Then it's going to be so freaking easy to know that you've ovulated and know when it is safe for you to have all of the glorious sex and not have to worry about it. So using these 3 methods together is called the symptothermal method, partially because you're using your temperature, you're using all of these different things, right? So it is easier than ever now with technology, you guys. Like the apps that are out there, so easy. Again, with those apps, like you can just enter in your data. I know I've mentioned this a couple times so far, but if you take your temperature, you enter it into your app, you enter in your cervical mucus into your app, and it's already going to tell you what day of your cycle you're on if you're entering in your period. Bada bing, bada boom. There's even apps now that will tell you exactly when your fertile window is and when your safe sex days are. Like absolutely incredible. And I go into details of all of that and details of, you know, which apps I really love and which ones have great track records and all of that, more so in my course. But they're easy to find, so you can absolutely look on your app store, see what you can find, and some of them even have Bluetooth connection with the thermometers, and you don't even have to enter in your numbers. Literally just revolutionary. Technology is amazing. So again, it's easier than ever before. Now, I just want to come back to some of these clients so you can remember their experiences with coming off of the pill and doing so with a plan that worked for them, and moving forward with all of this with confidence, with empowerment, with knowing that they're going to be okay, right? Knowing that it's worth it for them to heal themselves and that they can easily prevent pregnancy without the pill, all while losing weight and feeling good and getting a normal cycle and actually ovulating again. I mean, hell yeah, right? So now you know how to have the sex life that you want, right? Without having to use the pill as a contraceptive. But the question is, how do you put all of this into practice, right? Plus getting off the pill. And that's why I created my course, Ditch the Bitch. So it's a 12-week course. It has 14 modules, tons of bonus content. And really, I teach you exactly how to use these tools that we talked about today in the easiest and most effective way possible. Plus, I share with you my proven exit strategy to safely come off the pill without the crazy side effects, without the post-birth control syndrome, right? So you can take the guesswork out of the entire process and you can move forward feeling confident in your decision, right? You can feel confident in your plan to heal from the pill. You can feel confident in your plan to come off of the pill. You can feel confident in your plan for after the pill, right? Whether that's pregnancy or not, whether you want to have a baby or maybe you don't, regardless of what it is that you want, you can gain the knowledge and empowerment to move forward with confidence in your decision and knowing that you do not have to be on the pill. So in Ditch the Bitch, we go even further into this whole natural pregnancy prevention thing that we talked about today. And like I mentioned, I share with you some of my favorite tools and apps that make this entire process so freaking easy and painless so that you can actually implement right away. And best of all, I want to thank you guys so much for being here today and for participating and just really being a part of this webinar and having the curiosity to learn more about yourself and about your body. So in order to thank you properly, in my opinion, I want to offer you guys special pricing for the next 48 hours only. And literally, you guys, like I can really only offer this deal for a short period of time because the price is quite low. It's a lot lower, and especially with all of the bonuses that I've thrown in here, this is a very, very low price. So I'm only offering it to those of you who are on this webinar, those of you who are watching this right now. This is literally only available to you, not available anywhere else. And I can only really offer it for the next 48 hours. So you're going to get $200 off of the pay in full course price, number one. Plus, you're going to get an opportunity to get some functional lab work done with me, specifically food sensitivity testing done with me at no additional cost. Normally, I only offer functional lab work for my one-on-one intimate clients, my VIP clients. So typically, you wouldn't be able to get this with me except by joining this course through here, right? So you are just going to pay the lab fees directly to the lab. So there's no middleman in there. I'm not like making a secret commission off of the amount that you pay to the lab. Like literally, you send a check or you fill out the credit card form with your test kit when you mail it back to them. And that's how you pay them directly. I'm not getting anything from that. I just wanted to create a space and opportunity for you to be able to get food sensitivity done at a lower cost, because typically if you were getting lab work done with me, you would have to pay additional money in order to get that lab work done with me. So on top of that, I'm going to offer you guys the practitioner price for the test, which saves you an additional $350. So normally you'd have to pay me $375 to do the test. You'd have to pay for the test at the customer price, which is $350 more than the price that I'm offering you guys, because I'm going to give it to you at the practitioner price. And on top of all of that, I'm sweetening the deal even more. Because again, I want this to be an easy decision for you. I don't want you to feel bad about this. One thing that's extremely important to me whenever anyone purchases my courses or, purchases a plan to work with me, a package, anything like that, it has to feel really good for you. All right. Like I don't want you to feel icky about your purchase. I want it to feel really good and I want you to be freaking excited, right? That is the purpose of this. It's to make your life better. So I wanted to throw in a few more things for you just to make it even better. One is the Love Your Liver video course. So your liver takes a beating. And we go over this in the course, but this is additional in addition to the actual course that you're purchasing, right? You're getting this free course, Love Your Liver course. It's all about helping your liver recover. It's all about foods to eat for your liver. It's about supplements you can take for your liver. It's about different lifestyle choices you can do for your liver. So I'm giving you that course completely for free included. I'm also giving you my Happy Hormones 30-day meal plan. I absolutely love this meal plan. I've had a bunch of women try it out and they've loved it too. It's really simple, nice, fun, easy meal plan with a bunch of recipes and it's delicious. And the whole idea of it is really to help get your blood sugar levels back in line, because coming off the pill, you're actually very likely to suffer from insulin resistance. And actually, without your blood sugar levels being balanced, right? And that's partially because insulin is a hormone, right? So without insulin balance and balance of your blood sugar and your glucose, there's no real way to have balanced hormones. So that's extremely important. That's what this meal plan is for. You get that completely free. I'm also throwing in my Clear Skin Secrets Revealed ebook. So this book is awesome. It's really fun, quick, easy read. It has 80 pages of all of my top tips and secrets for naturally clear skin. I used to exclusively work with women who had acne. Since then, I've opened up to work with many more other types of women, but I am definitely an expert in the field of acne and healing acne naturally. It can be complex, but these are, my tips and tricks on that. So that's an amazing ebook. I'm throwing that in for you as well. And last but not least, one more special gift that I decided to throw in the last minute, and that's the Expansive Healing Meditation series. So I love these so freaking much. It's 4 different meditations. There's a womb healing meditation. There's an intensive healing meditation. There's a swirl light meditation, which is a lot of my clients' favorites so far that I've sent this to. They love that one. And then there's a gentle nighttime healing meditation that you can listen to while you go to sleep. So all of those are included. So total, that's a savings of $680, y'all. That's a pretty good deal if you ask me. So today, instead of paying $975, which is how much it would be to get all of that bonus material, plus the course, plus to do the lab testing with me, instead for all of that, you're only going to pay $297, which is just so freaking incredible. I'm so happy to be offering you guys this deal. I'm so excited because to me, I love when you guys are able to participate in these things. I love when you're able to make it happen. So if $297 still feels like a stretch for you right now, and that's just not an amount that you're comfortable spending, I do also have a payment plan for it where you can do 6 payments of just $97. So that means that today your entire total would just be $97 for everything I just talked about. Plus, you're going to get even deeper training on everything that we talked on today and so much more. Again, there's 14 modules, and then you get the extra bonus modules if you also do that food sensitivity test. So, I mean, seriously, this is an absolutely insane deal, and I'm so excited to be offering it to you here today. So you do have to use a code if you do the pay in full option. So at checkout, you do need to put in the code thank you, all caps, real simple. Just put thank you, right, into the checkout box. And let me come in here really quick. I'm going to send all of that so that you have it. So you have the links. There's a link for the pay in full, and that is where you can use the code thank you to get $200 off of your total course price. I've already included all of the bonuses in there for you. The second link is for that payment plan option, so you're just paying that $97 today. And then the last link is if you want more details. So that's going to take you to the page that talks all about the specifics of all of the modules, but I don't want to keep you on here too much longer. This has already gone very long, and I'm so freaking honored that you are here. So don't forget to use that code. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm, again, so excited that you're here to share this and to learn this information. So thank you so much for being here. Truly, it's my honor. And if you ever want to find me, you can pretty much look up the Paleo Ballerina on any any platform. So Instagram, Facebook. You can always email me at hpatton@thepaleoballerina.com, or you can head to my website, thepaleoballerina.com. Thank you all so much for being here. Again, it really was my honor. I'm going to stay on a little bit. If you have any questions, let me come to the chat, see if you guys have any questions. Let's see. All right, I don't see any questions coming through, but I'll stay on just a couple more minutes in case you have any questions. If you have questions on the program or any of the natural birth control method that I talked about, anything at all, let me know. I'm on here. I'm going to stay on for a couple more minutes. Oh, Crystal says, I missed the first half. Will this be anywhere for me to listen to afterwards? Yes. So after this is done, after I end out this live webinar, you're actually going to be emailed a recording of this webinar as well. So Crystal, since you missed the beginning, don't worry, you will absolutely get the recording of this webinar sent to you. Thank you for being here, Crystal. All right, any other questions? Again, I'm going to stay on just a few more minutes. I'll give it a couple more minutes in case you have any questions. There's still some people on, but I know a lot of times you have these kind of things just kind of going in the background. I totally get that. I feel like I need some elevator music right now, or like Jeopardy music. Do, 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 do. All right, guys. I think that's it. It seems like that is it. So on that note, again, thank you so much for being here. Truly, I'm honored, humbled to share this space with you. Thank you so, so much. And I cannot wait to see you in the course. Let me know if you have any questions. Enjoy the rest of your day.